Common Mistakes in English, Lesson 3. Let's talk more about how we ask people to perform an action. In addition to using imperatives, we can use questions. Some common questions for making requests are, can you or could you? Will you or would you? Note that could you and would you are more polite. So from less polite to more polite, here are some examples. Can you show me or will you show me? Can you show me please? Will you show me please? Could you show me or would you show me? Could you show me please? Would you show me please? So you see again that could and would are more polite, and please always makes any question more polite. Additional requests. Do you mind cooking dinner tonight? Would you mind mailing a letter for me? Would it be too much trouble to pick me up from work? Take a note of the grammar. Do you mind, would you mind, takes a verb in the ing. The last expression, would it be too much trouble, combines with the infinitive. Asking people not to do something. Sometimes it's best to use the imperative, especially if it's a matter of safety. This is called a warning. You are telling someone not to do something dangerous. For example, slow down, don't fall. But in other situations, it's more appropriate to ask a person not to do something. For example, would you please stop doing that? When you ask someone not to do something, you can imply your wishes instead of stating them directly. This is considered more tactful. Tactful means you're behaving in a way that doesn't upset others. So here are some examples of implied requests not to do something. I really wish you would stop calling me little girl. In other words, you're saying, don't call me little girl. I wish you wouldn't be so negative. In other words, don't be so negative. It might help if you did a little more around the house. In other words, I want you to help more around the house. You know, it wouldn't hurt to call more often. In other words, I want you to call more often. Sometimes the speaker uses we in a statement, but the meaning is really you. This is done to make a request less like a command and more like a suggestion or reminder. For example, a parent might say, let's not call each other names. Let's stop and try another exercise. Comprehension check 2. Read each statement and identify the situation. Sometimes more than one answer is possible. Example: please get back to work. Don't waste your time or mine. What's the situation? A. An employee speaking to a boss. B. A boss speaking to an employee. Or C. One employee speaking to another. Answer: B. These requests are too direct for an employee to use with a boss. And for one employee to use these requests with another is unnatural. One employee with another would more likely use suggestions, such as, let's get back to work. Number 1. I wish you'd stop doing that. What's the situation? A. A police officer speaking to a dangerous driver. B. A student speaking to a teacher who often forgets the student's name. C. A person speaking to a friend who often criticizes himself. Answer: C. A police officer speaking to a driver would not use an implied request. They would need to speak more directly and use a warning. Stop driving dangerously. stop doing that. And in the case of the student, it would be best not even to make a request, but to simply give a reminder. The student can simply tell the teacher what his name is. Number 2. Let's wash our hands. We wash our hands before eating. What's the situation? A parent speaking to a child. B, a doctor speaking to a patient. C, a hostess speaking to a dinner guest. Answer A. A doctor would not speak this way to a patient. Doctors give directions, instructions, and warnings. A hostess would also not speak in this manner. A hostess would most likely make an offer such as, "Would you care to wash up before dinner?" Number 3. Would it be too much trouble to move the bed near the window? What's the situation? A young child speaking to her parent. B, a guest speaking to the hotel staff. C, a homeowner speaking to hired furniture movers. Answer B. A child would not use such a request. It's a little too formal, too long. The child would simply ask, "Can we move the bed near the window?" C is also possible, but in this situation there are likely many pieces of furniture, and to take the time to be polite, making requests for every single piece of furniture, is just too much. Number 4. Will you call me? But don't call after 9, okay? What's the situation? A girlfriend speaking to her boyfriend. B, a job seeker speaking to a job interviewer. C, a patient speaking to a receptionist at the doctor's office. Answer A. A job seeker needs to remain formal and polite. The job seeker could ask, "Might I expect your call? May I expect your call? Will you be calling me?" The job seeker should also not be too demanding, so it would be best to say something such as, "Please call me at your convenience." A patient should also be polite when speaking to a receptionist. The patient could ask, "Will you please return my call?" To state a specific time, the patient could say, "Please call me any time before 9 o'clock." That's the end of part 2. Be sure to check out part 3.